Michael, thank you for helping arrange our guest. Bob, would you please introduce him?
I certainly will.
Thank you.
Our speaker this morning, Randy Oliver, is the County Administrator of Escambia County. He has more than 20 years of government experience where he has held a variety of management and financial positions. He has been a CEO in the public sector organizations with up to 2,700 employees, managed budgets in excess of $1 billion, and served jurisdictions with over 480,000 citizens, including consolidating the counties of Augusta and Richmond in Georgia. He has also been a manager for the Big 8 public accounting firm of Cooper and Lebrand, providing consulting and audit services to local governments and utilities nationwide. Prior to coming to Escambia County, he was the city manager of Surprise, Arizona. Surprise, one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S., is a full-service city with almost 120,000 citizens. His accomplishments in Surprise include consolidating city departments, reducing staffing by 12%, and reducing the general budget fund by 15%. While doing that, he increased the city's bond rating to AA. He has a BS degree from Clemson University in construction management, a master's in civil engineering from MIT, and a Master of Science and an MBA from Frostburg State College. He is a registered professional engineer and a certified public accountant. He holds a private pilot's license and has been a guest lecturer at several universities in the areas of engineering, public administration, and communications. And probably the most valuable experience that he brings to this city, he worked on an arbitration case with Penn State University. Let's hear it from Randy Oliver. Please join me in welcoming.
I tell you, from listening to those introductions today, I think a number of you missed your calling. I think you need to do 30-second spots on QVC or something. They were pretty impressive on an impromptu basis. Let me just tell you a little bit of, I've been here since November 1st, and one of the things that you have to do is you've got to learn to know a lot of people. And I don't envy the mayor of the city of Pensacola, because not only does he have to know the people that are within City Hall, and he knows some of the other people in the community, but he's also got to learn a little more about the functions of government. Well, I've been involved in several governments, so I have some pretty good ideas as to what works and what doesn't work based on experience. So I bring that to the table, but that is a challenge. When I got to Pensacola, I found a couple things out. There are some areas that we are not where we need to be, particularly as it relates to what I call paperwork and administrative procedures, because there are two things that I think you're going to see, like an iceberg. You'll see what's about the 10% above the surface, the 90% that's under the surface you won't see as much. Okay, but it's the 90% that's under the surface that's really going to make the difference. But when I came to Pensacola, I found it just absolutely astounding to me that every personnel action form came to the county administrator to sign. So if we hired a person, or somebody quit, got a better job, whatever, when they got paid out for their vacation, or whatever they were owed, I would sign off on it. Well, I didn't know any of these people. Okay, I didn't know whether the numbers were right or they weren't right. And one of the things that you get into with various size organizations is, in your business, if you have 10 people, for example, you know what all of them are doing. If you have 50 people, frequently a lot of people know what's doing. The break point tends to be about 100 or 200 people. Once you get up to that, it's pretty hard to start keeping track of what all of them are doing. So you got to have the system in place to make sure that things are happening correctly. Well, can you imagine when you go over 1,000 people, if I tried to keep track of what all of them were doing every day, it doesn't work. And things, in my opinion, were being very micromanaged from the top. And all of the decisions were being made from the top. And when I was in Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia, and it was the city of Augusta and Richmond County that I consolidated, and that happened after they voted to actually consolidate, I was hired. The good part of that was that there weren't any politics about the consolidation part. And I'm going to talk about some consolidation things we've got going on right now. The good part is that it was all under my control, but still we had to make the technical parts work. It was like Ford and General Motors both make cars, but can you imagine merging the two assembly lines together and making it so you can still make a viable product coming out the factory? But you have to set up the systems to make it so that you've got the controls and everybody's on the same page. Because the other thing that I found out was frequently when things had gone to the county commission for decisions, people weren't giving them any direction, in my opinion, as it relates to what they recommended. I believe that the county commission hired me, and I hired the other people here to tell them what they think is the best option and alternative. They can elect to make a different decision, and I respect that. And then it's our job to implement it. It's not our job to drag our feet until it doesn't work. Okay? But sometimes you've got to say, okay, everybody, here's option A, here's option B, here's option C. We recommend A, and then they need to pick one. But what happens is we frequently keep running around in a circle because nobody wants to be responsible. Okay, and so we need to work at that. So anyway, I changed the personnel system so that there are very minimal things that I need to see in that regard. The other thing that I found out was, and small businesses may still operate some of them this way, most or none of the big businesses I know do. We were still issuing paychecks and pay stubs to our employees. Okay, I haven't gotten a paycheck or pay stub since 1985. Okay?
Amen.
Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, but we still had a very large segment of our population that didn't have direct deposit. I said, on April 1st, people, we're going to all electronic banking. Can you imagine the logistics of, with all the locations we got spread out all over creation, of getting checks printed and just distributed, forgetting the other stuff. So that's going by the board as of 4/1. Were there some people that weren't totally enchanted with that decision? The answer is yes. But our responsibility is to pay in any lawful currency. Well, in today's market, lawful currency is an electronic. They don't have a banking account or bank account. We're giving them a debit card, and with that debit card, they can go into the bank and cash that check for 100% of it. But we're not issuing checks anymore. And in fact, they save money because some of them were paying $6 to go to Bank of America to get a check cashed every pay period. So that didn't make any sense. So as of April 1st, that's going by the board. We have worked very closely with the clerk's office to deal with things. Some of my next project or some of the other things we're working on that are a little less transparent is right now engineering, and that's the most structured. Engineering, and when we do a road construction project, there are a lot of invoices and approvals that occur. Okay, I've also never signed a purchase order probably in the last 6 or 8 years, but a large percentage of the purchase orders also come across my desk, which makes no sense. I can't tell you that if we're buying something that was the best price that we followed the process. I don't know. Okay, I have to rely on other people, so we've delegated those responsibilities down. But my next thing is to go paperless as it relates to invoicing, because right now we have all the invoices. The invoices get approved. They stay within engineering or public works, and then we make a copy and send the originals over to the clerk's office. Okay, and I'm saying, not in this day and age, we aren't doing this anymore. So we are working with the clerk's office on a pilot project to be able to do that. and that's working very effectively. But in government sometimes we don't take an opportunity to step back and look at what we do to see how we can do it smarter. Okay, what we're too busy is doing. And the worst answer that in the world to me is when I say, well, why do we do it? And they say, because we've always done it. That's not a good answer. Okay, that's not a good answer. I have two favorite expressions. The one is very simple, that our job's not to pave the cow path, but to straighten it. Okay, paving it makes it look good, straightening it makes it more efficient. And the other one is one of Bernard Baruch's sayings, indecision's a decision, things are going to remain the same. So if we do nothing, it's going to stay the way that it is. So, you know, let's go ahead and move forward and do some things. Some things won't work out as well as other things, but we'll do it. I'll give you an example. The other thing we don't do is marketing very well. Government does a lousy job of marketing themselves, for one thing. The other part is that 99% of the staff is afraid of the reporters, and I keep telling them that if they don't get their story out, nobody's going to. Okay, they're always going to assume the worst. So we're doing some education in that vein. But to give you an example of how efficiency things, and then I'll tell you some things we've done in Pensacola. Community that I was in, there was a major problem in that, and it was predominantly kids, and it was predominantly African American kids. They'd crank up the radio in the car, and they'd have these 1,000-watt speakers in the back. Why anybody want to do that, I don't exactly understand. But they do that. They drive down a neighborhood, particularly with older housing that's closer to the street, and it was literally with the bass music shaking out. And so our current process were we were issuing about 800 tickets a year for noise violations, and it was a civil citation. The fine was $250. Okay, it wasn't fixing the problem. When we went back and did the research on this, 90% of the people never paid the fine. The fine does no good if it doesn't get paid. It doesn't serve as it's like a mother telling their child they need to clean their bedroom. Okay, and then they don't clean the bedroom, and then the mother goes in there and cleans the bedroom every day.